is to take responsibility for my own healing, completely separate from anything that he has going on. Meaning, because when we're relying on someone else to take this away and make me feel better, it's never going to happen. I think when our body goes through that, there's a level of PTSD, and you need a lot of sleep during that time, because I would experience triggers like nobody's business. I would literally step outside the house and something would trigger me. If you're also dealing with infidelity like I was, I just want to say that questions that you have about why may not serve you.
Is because the answer to that question cannot satisfy your desire for why. There's no answer that would ever come close to justifying why that happened.
However, the reasons why are because of his heart and what he had going on in his heart.
There's a pain that's underlying. There's something else that's underlying in the heart that would need to be discovered. And here's the truth. It never works.
Nope.
It never covers up the pain, because we're all looking for God to fill us, but we look for it in other areas. Hey, I'm Travis.
And I'm Adele.
And we are The Noble Marriage. We hope that through our channel, you will be inspired and motivated so that your marriage will be all that God created it to be.
So one of the things for me was, and this goes along not staying a victim, is to take responsibility for my own healing, completely separate from anything that he has going on. Meaning, I'm going to do what I need to do to heal. And that included several things for me. It included learning how to care for myself, like looking at the 4 areas of my life: emotional, spiritual, mental, and physical. And which one of those do I need to take care of to help myself feel better? Because when we're relying on someone else to take this away and make me feel better, it's never going to happen.
Right.
And so that gave me a lot of empowerment to be like, I am going for a walk because I need to. Or I am going to sit in the bathtub for 2 hours because I need to. And I would sit in my closet. I would sit outside with him on the porch and just pour my heart out. And so there were all different things that I needed to do to take care of me. Sometimes I would sleep all day, because I think when our body goes through that, there's a level of PTSD. And you need a lot of sleep during that time, because the mind is in overdrive. And when the mind is in overdrive, it tends to turn the volume up in there, and then you just ruminate about all the stuff. And so you need to shut that down, and sleep is one of the best ways to go through that. So you really need to have grace and patience for yourself. I think I really started to get that probably a month or 2 in, is just to feel a little bit bad for what I was going through so that I could be patient with myself. I didn't have a goal of when I needed to be healed by. And so what happened was, over 6 months to a year, I remember looking back feeling like, it's been a year? Wow, I had no idea it has been a year. And I would think about, wow, I am rarely triggered now. I would experience triggers like nobody's business. I would literally step outside the house and something would trigger me. And so I needed a lot of grace for myself. I know I'm going to get triggered, and I'm going to work through that, and just have a lot of patience for my healing. And it will happen when you're following these steps and you're doing what God has called you to do to process your grief. Triggers, if they're there, they do get further between, and I would have so many throughout the day, and then it would be so many throughout the week, and then it would go to just a few a week. And it's just this process that happens, and just giving yourself a lot of patience is so important. if you're also dealing with infidelity like I was, I just want to say that questions that you have about why may not serve you or your healing. And I asked the Lord to show me what questions were important. And so a question would pop up and I would do my best to let it go. And if it would resurface and I let it go and resurface, it's on my heart. And you need to follow your heart. So I would ask him whatever question was on my heart, because what I noticed was the more I resisted that, I was creating my own scenarios and my own answers. And I started realizing these are probably worse than the truth or reality. And I would rather know just reality, because then I can actually deal with that and move on. And so I would have questions for you. And what was really hard for me in that time frame was sometimes you said, I don't know, to my questions. And that was like really hard for me to believe that you really didn't know, or that you just didn't want to hurt me more. And what I realized is that he really didn't know. He hadn't really had the time or the desire to really search for, why did that happen? Why was I doing those things? And that actually took time, and we are still having conversations about why and really figuring out the root of that together as a couple. And so also be patient with your spouse. When you have questions like that, they may be questions they've never thought of, that they actually need time to go discover, why did I do that? What drove me to have an affair? What was I feeling inside before that happened? And those are things that your spouse will need to discover. And so just pray about the questions that you have. For me, I didn't want a lot of detail, and that was better for my healing. And so when I say just follow your heart and ask the Lord what you need to ask, he will show you.
One of the reasons we wouldn't want to ask, why did you do that? Why did she do this? Why did he do this? Is because the answer to that question cannot satisfy your desire for why it happened. There's no answer that would ever come close to justifying why that happened. It could only be used as a purpose to diminish you or have some type of impact on you of who you are, and it has nothing to do with you.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I'm really glad you said that. And I want to speak into you. If you're dealing with infidelity and the loss of the marriage you thought you had, the fact that your spouse had an affair has everything to do with them and their brokenness, and nothing to do with me. Now, I added to probably some of the reasons, and that's something I can take responsibility for. However, the reasons why are because of his heart and what he had going on in his heart. And so I just really want you to hear that, because that was a really hard thing for me to get, because I wanted to take the responsibility for why he cheated. And that's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to heal and be a whole and complete person. His responsibility is his own heart, and finding out and discovering for himself what was going on in there and why did I do that. And then you can have really good conversation that is healing and intimate and connecting.
Great. And people still want to know why,
yeah.
Right? And so here's the reason why. Here's the reason why that happens, or why your spouse did what they did, why they looked at pornography, why they stepped out on their marriage, why they gamble, why they have shopping addictions. Here's the reason why. It's because all of those things are symptomatic things. Like, I do those things, or that person does those things, and it's a symptomatic thing, and it has everything to do with the heart. There's something going on in the heart that would require that or make that happen. There's a pain that's underlying, there's something else that's underlying in the heart that would need to be discovered. And the reason that we seek those desires and those addictions or those habits is to cover up that pain that is in the heart. It's just a thing that's searched for that will cover up the pain. And here's the truth, it never works.
Nope.
It never covers up the pain, because we're all looking for God to fill us, but we look for it in other areas.
Yeah. And I think that's why addiction is so powerful, and why the enemy knows addiction is powerful, because we are seeking to fill ourselves. And those things give us an instant gratification, instant satisfaction, and you're never satisfied through that. And so, yeah, that was really good, sharing what is going on in the heart. And it's taken us several years of discovering what that was for you. And what gave me so much healing and so much peace was he had the issues in his heart long before he met me.
Right.
They were already there. It just happened to manifest in our relationship, in our marriage. And so when I really got, wow, what you did actually had nothing to do with me, it gave me so much healing and so much peace to be able to move forward with, okay, if it didn't have anything to do with me, how can we protect our marriage now to prevent those things from coming back into our relationship?
Yeah.
And that's really powerful.
So that was such a great conversation, Adele, and you gave a lot of knowledge and experience of how you work through grief and how you help other people, how you coach them through grief. I imagine there's a lot more ideas and suggestions that you have. Let's help other people out. Put them in the comments below and give us some tips and ideas, and other people tips and ideas how you personally have worked through grief.
Thanks for watching today, and join us next week for a continuation of our topic of grieving. Well, sometimes when you're dealing with grief, you end up with a severe pain. And for me, it was like a literal knife stabbing in my heart. But it is a technique that helps the brain rewire itself around the trauma that you experienced. And they're just really struggling with how to move forward and how to grieve. If you know somebody who has been affected by infidelity, please share this video. We want marriages to get healing. We just feel so much passion about getting information out there to couples that are struggling today. And so if that is you, or if you know someone, please share it. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye.